for all the world to see. A statue of a fool made of stone.
Welcome into this edition of the Volling Out Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan. I got three co-hosts with me tonight. Swanny, you're back with me. Andrew, you're back with me. Billy, it's good to have you back, brother. Glad you're back with us. How's everybody doing tonight?
Splendid.
As good as I can. As good as I can be.
I say splendid.
Splendidistic. I like it.
Why didn't you wear any Florida shit this time, Andrew?
Man, I wasn't feeling it. Not that the Braves did anything better, but
No.
I had to change it up.
He's making his stand tonight. This is his Napier's got to go stand. This is where we're at. So,
That's right.
Boys, we know what we're here to talk about. Let's get down to it. So, boys, Andrew, I might as well let you run with this first half, buddy, because I'd say you probably got more than any of the three of us got to say. But man, I do want to say one thing though. I finally broke down and watched that first half today, and I mean I watched the whole game. But man, that first drive Tennessee had, if Tennessee goes down and it ends it the way it looked like they were going to, could have been an entirely different ball game the rest of the way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're right.
It was just Nico in the pocket, man. Like that ball security in the pocket it's a thing. It's a thing, whether we want to say it is or not. It's a thing. So, what have you guys got on that subject there?
Well, I'll start from a Florida perspective since I'm the only Gator fan on the podcast tonight. But I mean, that's exactly how, as an away team in a hostile environment against a top 10 opponent, that you want to come in and make a statement. You kick the ball off first. Tennessee drives the ball, very well executed, scripted drive as anybody would have expected. You get them down into the red zone, which has been I told you this last week, that's been our strength on defense, has been in the red zone. And you get something that went your way. It's just, we didn't do anything to cause that. It's just a mishandled read option in the backfield. We had a guy right there to scoop it up and immediately taking the crowd out of the game early in the game. That's exactly what you want to do. And then on top of that, we come in and drive right down the field with ease ourselves. Mertz is finding the open guy, hitting the open guy, and we're running the ball. Montrell's running well. Things are looking how you hope they would as a Gator fan in that first drive and then our first drive. So things started off exactly how we really hoped they would.
Yeah, they did, absolutely. Then, man, honestly, though, I don't know if Swanny, you and Billy will agree with me, but I feel like that, in general, that entire first half might have very well been the worst half of football we've played all year. At the same time, though, I don't want to take anything away from Florida because they come out with a good game plan. I mean, first half was solid. Best thing that could have happened to us was only giving up 3 points in that first half.
Yeah. I think you can not take anything away from Florida while also saying that we played like shit in the first half. Offensively.
Yeah.
Offensively, we played just awful. That first drive where Nico fumbled the ball away was the best offensive drive we had put together the entire first half.
But guys, I'm just going to tell you this here. I don't care what Gator team comes to Knoxville, that Gator team coming to play. I don't care if it was the first grade of those kids coming to Knoxville. Them boys coming to play, man. And the kids that I saw in that field when I was on the sideline, brother, them boys was ready. They was barking like dogs.
Yeah.
Those the Gators that I was used to seeing play out on the field the previous years. They Gators haven't played like that all season. Those guys would have been playing like that the first few games. I don't think they'd have lost the many games they lost or being beat the way they've been beat. Because I know they got talent on that team, man. Florida, I mean, I was talking to, who was it with? Fred Taylor the other day. And this man was like, man, I don't know what's wrong with us. We don't have enough killers. We don't have enough, just whatever, something missing. That's the first thing I thought about. I said, I guess y'all don't have enough criminals anymore, man. I mean, like, y'all, you always
We've lost, yeah, we've lost that swagger, and it's even going back 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, it was it wasn't the greatest teams, but they could talk smack on the field and a lot of times back it up. So that's why, I mean, it was a love-hate game for me. It was mostly bad, but that was the good thing. I really hoped to see a team come in there that was on the same level as Tennessee in some way, at least was ready to come out there and play, and they did. They were, the defense that had been the weakness all year and looked suspect all year looked phenomenal in that game. I mean, that looked like two elite defenses going at it, and one team pulled it out at the end. So, I love that part. I hate it for the players because I do feel like the players played the best they could. Had a couple of false snaps here and there, a couple player mistakes, but you're playing in Neyland Stadium at night. It's going to happen even to the best teams. So I feel like the players executed almost flawlessly, and then there were some bonehead coaching decisions that, quite frankly, just ripped that upset out of their hands.
Andrew said something interesting there that I hadn't really thought about. You said that watching the game was miserable, you would say, yes?
Yes. Yeah.
It was,
and
it was
the feelings were mutual.
It was miserable for both of us, I think. The outcome of the game dictated how we feel about it today. But otherwise, it was not fun.
Yeah. And here's what I'll say. I mean, I'm happy for you guys. Congratulations to the Tennessee fans, because to the outside world, they wouldn't really get why Tennessee is excited. Even you lose a few rating points, who cares? But beating Florida, no matter how you do it, after losing 2 of the last 17, you take it and you're happy. It's just, I see it because I live here in enemy territory. But I think even, Gator fans that don't experience that have no idea the turmoil and that you guys have been through the last 17 years, because a lot of Florida teams have beaten you that weren't very good and definitely weren't better than you guys. And so you take a win no matter what. No, that's a fact.
Yes, and that's something I've been telling my fans and everybody like us. You enjoy the ride. I don't care if it's 1 point, 20 points. You're talking about a rivalry game that hasn't been won in forever. And you're complaining about a win. I don't care how ugly it is, guys. This is football. That's the thing about football, guys. The way I was taught when it came to football from yay high, if you can't score, you can't win. So imagine that. That's the perfect kind of game that I like to see and love to play. I'm in the stands excited about it.
Yeah. I mean, that's my thing. Okay, so I missed the whole first half Saturday night. I was kind of keeping up with it during my Pee Wee game and this, that, and the other, and I was like, man, I just had that weird feeling about it. I was like, man, sure, I hope by the time I get home, which it'll be the second half, I'm like, maybe, surely God will get it together, because Andrew coined it perfectly on the preview show. It was like watching two homeless men fight over a half-eaten McGriddle in the trash can, and if you win, do you really win? You know what I mean? That's the feeling of it now. But we won, so we're like the head hobo right now. I'll take it. I'll be that head hobo right now. I would rather be 5-1 than 4-2 right now. And
Absolutely.
that's the thing. That's another thing. Like, we've got that portion of the fan base still that's out there. Well, we didn't win by enough. Well, at least we won. I mean, that's how I'm looking at it.
We won by plenty of points. We won by
exactly
points is plenty. There are, and it's almost enough to make me forget about the negatives to take away from this game, because they're certainly there. I agree with what Billy said. You take the win. Andrew, you said it too, especially against Florida. You take the win. You take the win no matter what.
Enjoy it.
You got to looking forward on our schedule. With Alabama and Georgia coming up, it's
going to be the
work.
Yeah, there has to be. But here's where I'm going with this though. What if, and just hear me out here, this is how Tennessee's supposed to win games the rest of the year? Are we all gonna piss and moan about beating Alabama by 3 points and playing like crap? I'm not. You know what I mean? Andrew, you had plenty of teams where you guys have went and played, and you're like, you didn't
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Yeah,
just
I'm gonna give you the perfect example right now. Now I don't think Tennessee's on this level. 2006 Florida Gators was that type of team. South Carolina at home, not a
Yep.
good team. What did we have to do? Not once but twice. Block a field goal. We had to block 2 field goals, and that team we didn't really blow anyone out that year. Every game was close. Every game was a thriller. Auburn beat us like they always do, and then we go into the national championship, and you can circle that game back in '07 for the '06 season where Florida beat Ohio State 41-14, whatever it was, as the moment that the SEC woke up the country, or the country woke up to the SEC, I should say, because nobody gave Florida a chance that year because of that reason. It was a team that had limped through games, won ugly games, got lucky a few times, but then when it mattered most, we came in and we destroyed Ohio State, and it put SEC on the map as an elite conference, and you can see what we've done from there. Almost every year since then, SEC's been in the national championship, won it, been in the playoffs, whatever. So sometimes you got teams that win that way, and there's nothing wrong with it. And Tennessee could very well be that team. Now, it's just one of those things, And as a fan, you pull your hair out and you get upset, but at the end of the day, man, it's a fun team to watch. When you've got an elite defense, it's fun to watch, and you've got it on offense. First half, I point back to it. Nico missed not one but 2 wide open receivers for touchdowns in one drive, back to back, I think, right? So, that's just Heupel drew up that play. I remember 2 years ago, but Hendon Hooker didn't miss those passes. It's just he can draw up a play that can score from 80, 90, 75, you name it. He will draw up a play, and all you got to do as a quarterback is hit it. And it doesn't sound like that's very hard, but he missed 2 there, so that was big. Overall, like we've all said, Florida did dominate on the box score, especially in the first half, and but that was one big mistake missed by Nico in the first half for sure. He probably even bigger than the fumble, really.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Hey, remember what I told you guys? This is a system that we run with this offense now. Everybody was trying to tell me that, Nico. I say, guys, he's good. But if the system is not working, it's not going to be as easy as everybody thought it was going to be. If this offense is designed for everybody has to do their job perfect. If one player on the team messes up, it messes up everybody. It throws Nico off if his receivers are not in the right spot where they're supposed to be. Because in practice, that ball that he threw, his guy's supposed to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
The guys are not getting up the line of scrimmage. Go watch the guys. Florida jacked our receivers, guys.
Oh yeah.
I told Jordan that last week. I said, we especially Jason Marshall at corner. I thought Florida could hang with everybody on the field, and he did. And allowed us to stack the box and stop the run. That was a big key in the game. Now, if you guys had Brew McCoy, that changes everything. But you didn't. So of the 2 receivers that were out, it was best for Brew McCoy to be out for Florida's sake. And Pearl White was obviously a little banged up still. It seemed like every time he was part of a play, he had to go back out with an injury, whatever's been ailing him.
Well, that's the key right there. When it comes to recruiting now, if Tennessee don't get the top wide receivers in the country these next few years, they're not doing something right. They're not recruiting right. They're not doing something right when it comes to recruiting. As you got to get the top receivers with this kid throwing the ball to you now.
Yeah.
Jordan, me and you could walk on campus there and have 1,000 yards receiving.
Yeah, I mean that kid, just with the way that kid is, man, he's that good. We've got to get him the elite talent out there. Swan said it himself. He thinks we may have thought a little too much of our receiving core, and I'm starting to believe that, because these are the same guys Joe was working with last year, and we're having a lot of the same issues this year, and it's. I'm not going to sit here and say Joe was perfect last year. Billy, you've said it yourself, buddy. I mean, it's an issue, but it's like they show those flashes, though, man. I mean, and what else is there to say really about it? Well,
there's ways to fix that, though. That comes to the offensive coordinator. He has to know what he can and cannot do with the kids that are on the field. If we got two left, the right tackle is out. We don't need to be doing a 5-6 step drop. We need to be doing a quick 3-step drop. Get rid of the ball. Get it to the kids quick. Let the receivers make a play if they can't get off the line of scrimmage. The dive. That's not going to work when we go this coming up weekend because those DTs are not allowed that up the middle. I'm telling you, they would destroy our offensive line if we do that this weekend. We're going to have to stretch the field. We're going to do some bubble screens. We're going to quick slant drag. We're going to do a lot of stuff quick to make it work.
Yes, yeah, gonna have to, man. Let's jump back into the game just a little bit here, though. Florida goes in up 3-0 at half. Andrew, you guys, I seen the 10-second runoff there before half, man. That was killer for you guys because any kind of momentum y'all had went gone right
and it's
then.
Inexcusable, and it's just one of those things that I feel like I've never seen in football until the Billy Napier era at Florida. And Billy, you were a former player, and it just seems mind-blowing at a high college football level or any level at all that you would have 12 players on the field when you're kicking the ball. Like, how does that happen? It seems like that's the one I can't even count on one hand the amount of times I've seen that. And not only was that awful, we have a great kicker, one of the best in the country, Trey Smack, but he could have easily hit that kick 5 yards, adding 5 yards to it. But that runoff rule, and I think Derek Dooley might have had a hand in that rule, ironically enough, if I'm not mistaken, from the North Carolina game several years back. But that's 3 points. Look at how important 3 points would have been for Florida in the second half. So he nailed the kick, wipe it off the board, and then we sit there at halftime like, wow, it feels like we've dominated, but it's 3-0, and it was the worst feeling. I'll die on the hill of saying I would have rather have lost 50-0 than to lose like that. Cause you go into half, I felt like it was coming, like that, it's like the players are doing great, man. I'm so proud of them, but we're about to lose a heartbreaker, and at my age and staying up and, I could have been asleep in the third quarter if it was 50-0. Now I got to stay up and watch this and try to go to sleep after. So it was a night. It was a night.
Those are the games I love, man. I mean, because guess what? All of the fans stay in the stadium. This crowd stays loud. And imagine if we have a close game that we're winning by 14 points. Our fans will leave the stadium. The stadium will be half full because they think we're going to blow the team out. And next thing you know, this King scores a touchdown. Now they're down by 7, got a chance to get back in the game. That's why I love close games now. The fans, they have to stay. I don't understand how fans leave now anyway, spending that kind of money for ticket and then leave. No way, man.
And what a spot for Florida to be in with a true freshman quarterback in his first road game at night in Neyland behind, having to try to get the team back into it. So, he obviously struggled, and anybody would, but overall he did fantastic. And it just part of Florida's luck on the night too and the news was officially released today is, Graham Mertz tore his ACL and all he did was step on a blade of grass. He wasn't touched. He threw a touchdown pass. He was walking backwards, tore his ACL. I mean, you can't make it up. And, Jordan knows I'm a big advocate of DJ Lagway and want him in more, but I still didn't want to see that because Mertz really played a great game and he had control of that offense and he moved it. It's just some bad luck. It was a bad luck night for Florida, and it's football, like you said, Billy. And we lost Jordan, but
he'll be back. He'll be back. DJ Lagway, for a true freshman, there he is. For a true freshman, demonstrated a lot of poise. There were several situations where he just stepped up. I think they had a 4th and 10 late in the game that he made the play on. I was like, God, they got at least 2 more years of this kid.
Yeah. The tying touchdown was 3rd and 17.
Yeah.
And he's got that arm talent every game. I told Jordan this last week too. Every game when he gets in there and he had been taking a third of the snaps, he makes one or two throws that you only see on Sunday. So he's that type of level of talent. And I hate that that he had to be thrust in like that, and he wasn't really prepared. But now, going forward, he's the guy. He's going to get the first team reps. He's not going to split reps, and so we'll see what kind of difference that makes going forward for Florida.
You guys will be better for that. Period. Whether it don't matter how the rest of the season plays out for you guys, you'll be better for it.
See transfers.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there.
Every school in the country is talking to him. Guarantee it.
I'll say this about Neyland Stadium, too. It's been brought up a couple of times. It was absolutely rabid Saturday. For that first half where the air should have been taken out of the whole place.
And I plan on going on over this more, but you look at the box score, who won Florida actually won the penalty battle. Both teams had 6 penalties. Florida had 36 yards of penalties. Tennessee had 47. So to go into that hostile environment and only have 36 yards of penalties is pretty impressive. And so you can't really put your finger on that, even though one of those penalties with the 12 men on the field took 3 points off the board, 3 valuable points, but they played great. Florida's players were not too intimidated by the atmosphere.
And it won't get any easier. That schedule they have is brutal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got Kentucky at home coming up. You know what Kentucky does, especially lately to Florida. Then it's on the road to Texas. Then it's Georgia at home or at neutral site. Then Ole Miss on the road. You got Florida State on the road and LSU at home. So that's the remaining schedule for Florida. I see maybe two wins in there. And, anything else would be a pretty big upset.
Well,
that's going to be tough,
Georgia,
man,
the way
especially when you
looking
got
right now.
Florida State.
Florida State.
Florida State on the road, you got to win. That's really the only winnable, the only, I would say, must-win game is Florida State on the road, Kentucky at home. Maybe you pull one out against Ole Miss on the road or LSU at home and get to 6 wins. That'd be a decent season.
As the first time I would say Florida, it make me feel like it's the way we were at Tennessee for so long. And I've never seen a Florida team like this before, ever. Never.
Tebow said it in that post-game speech after losing to Ole Miss. You don't go 7-5 at Florida, but it's been a while since we went 7-5, and now we're looking at that. That'd be a great season. So it's definitely a humbling experience over the last 10 years or so. But I think every program goes through it, and it's about how you get out of it. And I think Tennessee's out of it now, and hopefully we're on the road to do that as well.
That road gets started whenever Billy's out of town. Much as I want the man to stay down there and be kept for a long time, that don't when Billy Napier's gone from Florida, that's whenever you guys will start that. But it's all about who you hire afterwards too. And this was not the right hire for you guys, I don't think. At the time, it was a good one.
Right.
But
let me
right now.
It's good timing for that. Let me give you some stats that I pulled on Billy Napier earlier. Billy Napier in his career is 1-2 versus Tennessee, 0-2 versus Kentucky, 0-1 versus Miami, 0-2 versus FSU, 0-2 versus LSU, 0-2 versus Georgia, 1-1 versus Vandy, and 3-11 overall on the road. So just awful number. I can't think of any of our last failed coaches that it was that bad. It seemed like they were, obviously they were all getting beat by Georgia and Alabama and teams like that. But you're splitting against Vandy. You have a losing record against Kentucky. Never beaten Kentucky, period. And your in-state rival has beaten you too. So it's just not something that Florida fans and Florida boosters want to see. And if that continues, it will most definitely be his last year in Gainesville.
I'm going to say it is his last year in Gainesville, man. I think they're going to let him go this year. And the thing is, man, Billy, he's a good coach, man. I mean, you meet the man, understand his game plan. He's good at what he does, man. It's just in a tough situation.
He's missing something.
Yes, tough situation. Well, I think it's just the surrounding cast is what's missing. When you change coaching staffs and you get rid of certain pieces of the pie, it hurts. And I don't know if they got a new strength coach or a new medical staff or anything like that. When you start messing with that piece of the pie, it messes everything up for it. That's why I always say, anytime you get a new coach, don't mess with the medical staff or the strength and conditioning staff. Leave it alone. Those are the only 2 pieces of the pie that the kids see the most. They know them. They know they family. They know how they move. They know how they work. The coaches don't see the kids as much as those guys see the kids. And when you get rid of like a strength and conditioning coach and get a new one in, it's tough on those kids.
That's a good perspective that I've not really thought of.
Yeah, it is. But Billy's always bringing some truth to the table here.
Good to have that former player perspective for sure.
Yes. So guys, I'm gonna ask. This will be for everybody here. Once Florida went up 10-0, did you guys feel like that kind of backed Tennessee into the? I mean, obviously it backed Tennessee into the corner, but that's whenever I felt like the play calling changed and we got what we've come to expect out of Tennessee. I was almost relieved whenever they scored that touchdown because I was like, okay, now we know we have to go try to score, period. Because I felt like at times it was just like, well, we'll take what we can get and play field position. And then once they put us down 10 points, it was, okay, we got to do something. And then we ripped off 17 on it. So,
well, Jordan,
what do you guys think as far as
there could be some truth in that. I think there could be, maybe we do open up the playbook because we're down 10 now. But I don't understand, and I'm not, I don't pretend to know what I'm talking about when it comes to how the game works. But I don't understand why that's not the mentality the other parts of the game.
Yeah. No,
when they went up 10-0, I thought, wow, that's enough points to win tonight.
Yeah.
They can beat us because we're not going to score. We can't score. Of course, we turned it on halfway through the third quarter, turned it on and scored 17. But,
that was the perfect storm. I mean, it was set up so well for Florida. The way they played in the first half, you just got, if we went into halftime 10 points, with 10 points, come out, put a drive together like that, you're up 17-0, you're feeling really good about your chances. But I was happy about it. I was like, man, great drive out of half. That's awesome. And then it was a perfect storm right then. Mertz went down. You could tell it was pretty serious. He went back in the locker room. And then Lackway comes out. I think you guys either went down and scored then or got a field goal, and then he throws that bat pick, and then it was all, that was it. That's where I knew. I was like, all right, there's that momentum shift. A good team, a great team is going to take advantage of that and feast off of it, and Tennessee did.
I want to say one thing about that pick. Go ahead, Billy.
And from a player's perspective, like when you think of like the mentality of the kids, why they're not giving it all, or why it look like they didn't do this the first half or whatever. It's like I said, it just only takes one player on the field to mess up everything. So it's hard to just say that why all the kids are not doing it, but majority of them are doing their jobs. But it's just that one that messes it up, and it screws up the plays. It's all about down and distances. 3rd and 5, 3rd and 10, or whatever. If you don't have it in mind to do the play the way it's supposed to be done, it's not going to work. And the gut check came when they went down 10-0 and realized that, hey, we can't make any more mistakes.
Yeah, I think that you're 100% correct on that, because you could just tell the gut check happened. Everybody was like, oh shit, it's time to play some ball now. And not that they weren't before, but I think they were just kind of sleepwalking through it thinking, okay, the offense is going to make something happen. Well, they did finally, but it took them getting down 10-0 for anything to change. And it's like, start the game out the way you did, and then you have a bad turnover off of just, that was a freshman mistake. I mean, just pulling it too late on that read at the mesh point, that was not. You go back and do it again, 9 times out of 10, Nico's not doing that. It was just a freshman mistake. It is what it is. But you gotta
remember. Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
Remember what I told you about the quarterback situation. I am going to give Nico hell all year. And the reason I'm going to do that, because everybody gave the quarterback hell last year. And I've told everybody it's not the quarterback, guys. And you go look at the quarterback position right now. Do you think he look exactly like the quarterback last year right now?
Right now, he's looking
carbon
identical. Overthrowing, or the receiver dropping it in his hands, or he's just doing a bonehead mess-up read. It's just because one player on the field is messing up. This is a system. It is a system. We had receivers when Hooker was here.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't
There's a
have
reason
those
those guys
caliber
are all on
receivers
Sundays
right
now.
now. After Brew, we don't have those guys. They're not. They don't have anybody to look up to and mimic what he's doing right now. Everybody's hurt now, and that goes with any team you got. If your receiver is hot, the guy behind you want to be hot too. So he's going to come in and do the exact same thing that guy does. So if no one in front of him is doing that, you're not going to see the transition on the field.
That's true. And basically, the gist of what you're saying is you're only as strong as your weakest link every play.
That's exactly. That's every team. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, boys, let's get down to it some more here. 17-10. We go up 17-10.
Jordan, you were going to make a comment on Lagway's interception.
Yes, that I want to say this. Arian Carter, athletic as hell, because that was a throw not many corners are going to pick off, let alone a linebacker. He went up and got that sucker. And I want to say that dude stepped up and played tremendous ball in Keenan Peely's place. And I hate that Keenan Peely is out for the rest of the year because he will most certainly be missed.
That was such a massive play, And I'm not mad at Lagway for making that throw. That's part of the growing up process. You looked open and there's a guy lurking right there and he made the play. I mean, that's next level football. That's what kids don't do at high school very much. That's the next level that you got to get used to, because a lot of passes are going to look open and they're not.
Right. But then to your point, the game time touchdown was a throw, just like what you were saying earlier. Lagway will do something that, you're like, guys on Sundays aren't making that. I mean, he fired it right in there.
You couldn't defend that. There was no defending that.
No, he fired it right in there. So basically, you guys go down at 17-16. You took exception to Napier not going for two. Personally, as a Florida fan, I would have too. I think I'd have been like, I want him to go for two. I'd rather lose here or win right here than.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the number 8 team playing at home, you don't go for it. But if you're the underdog that's had every opportunity to win the game throughout the whole game and don't have anything to lose, you go for it. I mean, but I don't think he has a play for that. I really don't. He came out and tried to do some sort of gimmick just to do it. You see the play clock was about to go to 0. He wasn't going to snap the ball.
Right.
So it was just, that was very, very frustrating.
You put it well in the group chat. You were like, the big poon decided not to go for it. But man,
and I don't think he ever had intentions. I mean, that was just a gimmick.
Here's the thing though, if that would have worked in your favor somehow or another, Tennessee buys it, goes out, jumps offsides or something. You go and you put up the 2 points because you're a yard closer, you got to go for it at that point. That's almost no balls in you. If you don't, you know what I mean? You've got to. But
yeah, but we also earlier in the game, and it was a Mertz that did it, but we did a quarterback sneak from the 1 yard line and lost the ball.
Pierce, JPJ, baby. That was an impressive play there. That was impressive on his part because he took that ball from Mertz. I mean, took it from him.
Absolutely. I mean, that shows his talent level. But us as Florida fans, we're critical of the fact that on 4th and inches, he didn't sneak it with Lagway and did a jet sweep right into the teeth of the Tennessee defense. And then on 1st down and inches at the goal line, you sneak right away. It was just like, it was a circus. It was a circus.
It's almost like
play by James Pierce.
It was. Who
was the player of the game, in my opinion?
Yeah. Well, on defense, I would agree with that, but I also want to say that I want to give it to the linebacker core as a whole, just because they had to step up with your guy with your guy down. You know what I mean? Like the whole bunch had to step up. Offensively, I got to go with Dylan Sampson. I don't think there's much of a question there.
Well, there's no question about that. Fun facts, he's only 4 touchdowns shy of breaking the season record.
No way.
6 games in.
Wow.
He could tie that against Alabama. I'm not saying he will, but he could.
We'll talk about them on the next one.
Yes, sir. Oh, I can't wait. Hey, I can't wait. But I do want to say one thing though about that game. Period. It was a hell of a game to watch. The Tennessee defense, that's the one consistent thing we've got that we can hang our hats on so far this year. I feel like is the defense. They've not wavered. We've lost one game and gave up 19 points in that one game. And honestly, I don't. That's it. I mean, that's the one consistency that we've got that I think can carry us until whatever we've got going on offense, which we'll get into that in a little bit more here in a bit when we talk about Bama. But whatever problems we've got offensively, they can be fixed. But the defense is carrying us until those problems are fixed, period.
Yes, and I've seen far too much slander the past 2 days on the app formerly known as Twitter about how our defense played. I can't reach the part of my brain that thinks that the defense didn't play well. Offense couldn't keep them off the field, and they gave up some things. But when it came nut cutting time down there on the goal line, James Pierce, the interception, 4th down stop. I mean, they're the reason we won that game. That we stuck around long enough to win it.
They did what elite defenses
just can't
do,
imagine
period.
Thinking that the defense was the problem at all. But I've seen it. I've seen people say that on the internet, and it's like, how do you get to work of a day? I don't understand.
Well, I think what they don't see is like what we see. They're used to being like seeing them shut people out, get them off the field. But they don't understand when you stop people from scoring, that's a big deal. It's because it could have been worse. It could have been. I tell people, like for instance, I have to go back to the Arkansas game because that Arkansas score, it truly don't show how bad they really beat us. It truly don't. It should have been, easily 40, 50-some points. They should have scored. But the defense kept them out of the end zone.
That defense
that's what you want from a defense.
Yes, that defense is going to win us some more games this year, and I'm gonna say it. I feel like the defense is what won Florida game.
Our offense, we had the 4th down stop that turned into nothing. We punted the ball. Then we had the forced fumble on the goal line that turned into an interception, and then there was interception. The interception coming off of our touchdown. We were started out in the red zone and we got 3 points out of it. So there's 3 turnovers, huge momentum shifting turnovers that we turned into 3 points.
Yeah, I mean
you can't. The best has yet to come. Our star players haven't really showed up yet. So imagine that once those guys get their rhythm, it's going to get better and better as the season goes.
Absolutely.
I agree with you, Billy. I think we had a lot of problems the last 2 games, maybe 3 games on offense. But all of it looks like shit that can get ironed out. It just looks like we're missing a little bit here and there. And we can fix it. There's a couple things that I have questions about. One, you guys remember seasons 1 and 2 of Josh Heupel when the offense was snapping the ball before the chains were set, moving at a breakneck pace. I've not seen that since 2022.
Let me help you with that.
Okay.
So you understand that's not Heupel's offense, that with the hurry up quickness like that. Anytime you got a team that's using the hurry up offense like that, your offensive line sucks. You got to do things to keep the defense guessing. And when you're doing that, it helps. But the play calling was totally different back then as well. We don't have that coordinator no more. You know where he's at. I wish we still had him, because if we had him, gosh, it would be nice right now.
We're missing golf.
The hype offense is run first. Run first. It's not pass generate. It's run first. It's old school football now, guys. It's they're preparing for the team that they're playing. They're not preparing for the win by 70 points. They're preparing for that team's weaknesses, and they're trying to beat those weaknesses. And that's what you're going to see. It is true chess playing right now, because now we're in the SEC plan of the schedule right now. You're going to see the same thing from every week from now on. You won't see another blowout until homecoming.
Hey, as long as the Vols get the dub, I'm good with it.
That's all I want.
Now to your
I
point,
hope Tennessee doesn't
I
play
do feel
Vandy
like
at homecoming.
this week we may see. Oh man, that would suck.
Vandy's for real, guys.
Yeah,
They're there.
I'm telling you.
I'm not feeling confident about that game either.
So I told
One
Jordan last
thing-
week, my first time in my Florida fanhood that I can say that I'm glad Vandy is not on the schedule.
So to kind of Billy, to your point here, what you were saying about we're scheming against weaknesses now and this, that, and the other, because we have the talent to do that too now. That was a thing before. We had to scheme for what we had, not what we knew we needed to scheme against. I feel like we may see Nico throwing the ball a little bit more this week, because I think if there's a weakness on that Alabama team now, it's that secondary. Ask the New Mexico State transfer from Vanderbilt. He shredded them.
And I'll credit Billy for. I think you'll see a lot more quick passes, 3-step drops. You'll see a lot of that this week. A lot of screens, bubble screens, a lot more of that. I think you'll see this week. I think that was evident in the game this past weekend. Was Tennessee needed a little more of that.
Yeah,
and then he's going to get that chance to throw it down the field, and there's going to be somebody open for sure. He's just got to hit him.
That's it. Swan, what was the other question you kind of had that you wanted to talk about?
I think I was going to talk about the play calling near the end of the game. Not our last drive, but the drive before. There's like 4 minutes left, and we throw 2 passes and then run the ball instead of, if you're trying to chew clock. I don't think Florida had 17 at that point. I think we were up 7 still.
Yeah, that led to Florida's game tying drive.
Yeah, I didn't.
And they had a lot more time than they should have had.
I didn't understand 2 passes and then try to chew clock.
The first pass I kind of got, because we got the ball, we're up 7. You hit that, it was a deep ball, and it was right there.
Yeah,
I felt like I want to say maybe Squirrel had it go right off his fingertips. You hit that, you go score, that's ball game right there. I get that, but then to your point, don't go back and do it again. Turn around, you're picking up 3-4 yards of carry. And at that point, if you're calling that on first down, you're playing 4-down football, because you're planning on. My thought process would be, I'm planning on running it 2 more times, seeing what I can get. And if I get 8 yards on set, if I get it down to 4th and less than 2, and I'm around midfield, I'm probably going to go for it. The way my offensive line was run blocking, the line looked really good.
Let's talk
there towards the end of the game, especially in that second half.
Yeah, and that leads to my point here. Let's talk about this. I've not heard anybody really talk about this. Going for it on 4th down inside your own 15-yard line.
Dude.
That is, that's good. That was fantastic. I applauded Josh Heupel for that, because you couldn't punt the ball away again. You could not punt the ball away again there. You felt it, and he did the right thing. I felt like earlier in the game, in the first quarter, I think Napier should have gone for it on 4th down. It was in Tennessee's territory. Worst case scenario, you get the ball over at their own 40, 35-yard line. I think it's in that range where field goal isn't possible, and I think that could have been a momentum shift right there. He did. He punted it deep. Tennessee went 3 and out, but looking back, it's like, man, we only ended up with 3 points. I wish he had been a little more. He should have coached a little more desperate, where it felt like Heupel was being desperate there, as he should have been, because they really needed that. You guys really needed it, and that needs to be talked about a little more. That was a big balls play there.
Yeah, less than a week after I got on here and talked about how gutless I thought he was.
I think he listens to Volin out. He listens to Volin out, no doubt. He called that play, and he's like, I'm going to show Swanny. I'm showing him. I'm going to show him. He ain't going to talk about me like that.
I'm going to keep talking shit then.
Well, my heart dropped when I saw him.
I'm just saying, it's
out.
not out of the realm of possibility. We've had Dane on here.
For sure.
Billy knows people, too. I'm just saying. It's not out of the realm of possibility that Volin out has not made it into that Tennessee locker room. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Let's hope not.
Oh, man. Well, boys, this has been a good one. Andrew, I do want to give kudos to you guys again, man. Y'all had a good game plan, played good, played tough. I don't want to say I hate y'all lost because I don't, but I hate it for you because I know you were invested in that. But man, I was trying to talk you off the ledge there at the end of that game. I was like, man, this game ain't over yet. You're like, man, just stop. I'm like, no, I can't. He was like, just stop. I'm like, I can't. I've seen this happen too many times. I can't do it.
Yeah.
But, it was, the other three of us have been in your shoes talking about this game before, and it sucks. So I feel for you on it. I mean, but man, good luck the rest of the way, man. That's all that's all I got to say. If you guys come out with that effort that you guys had this past Saturday, you guys will get somebody that you feel like you're not supposed to the rest of the way. Somebody. You look at Georgia, man. Georgia, that game looks a lot more winnable than everybody else thinks it does for everybody because they just gave up 31 points to the worst team in the league.
Yep.
So
yeah, no, you're right.
And bravo for coming on here after losing.
Hey,
that's more than we can say for the Oklahoma guy.
Hey, he was willing to do it. We just had a biblical flood, and I was like, we got other stuff going on. But hey, didn't Texas just throttle Oklahoma this weekend? I mean, just throttled.
Oh yeah,
that game was over 5 minutes in.
I bet.
Actually, so I only watched one other game this week, and that was Alabama and South Carolina. I did not want to play Bama coming off of 2 losses.
Yeah, we about had to, dude.
We about had to. Only the most interesting thing that happened outside of Knoxville to me was the Ohio State-Oregon game. Did you guys see?
Oh, man.
That was a hell of a game.
What Dan Lanning did at the end of that game?
Yes.
Where he sent a 12th man on the field to get a penalty, and of course Ohio State accepted it, but 4 seconds ran off the clock. So he sacrificed 5 yards for 4 seconds off the clock.
Genius. And then they got the quarterback ended up sliding at 0. Genius.
Brilliant. I've never seen anything like it.
I mean, to me, that's the 2 best teams in the country right there. They'll play again.
They'll definitely see each other again. Texas is pretty damn good.
The 10-second runoff giveth, and the 10-second runoff taketh away.
I've never seen that rule come into play more in 1 week than it has this past week, and it's starting to seem like a really bad rule. And I saw it in the NFL yesterday too.
Coach, it's being used as strategically.
Yeah, like they're going to have to look at that.
Like Lane Kiffin with his
the fake injuries.
Fate and goat. That was the next thing I was going to bring up.
Is going to do well. Well, Kiffin he's just he just be doing too much.
He's extra. He's bougie.
He don't be consistent.
Hey, I want to say that I
comes back every single year.
Yes. And I mean, Andrew, that's a winnable game for you guys. I mean, because here's the thing: you get down to it, Ole Miss is liable to drop another 2 games before you guys get to them. And at that point, sorry,
that's a winnable game.
You
it's
have
really
the
not
expectations they
out
have,
of the realm of possibility.
And you drop a few.
I think that's what this past weekend showed me is that we can go and compete with just about everybody left on our schedule.
And that could be your next head coach.
We'll see what happens. And now even more exciting is it's Lagway's team, and this is his chance. And he can save his coach's job here if he really wants to. Hopefully, he just wants to stay a Gator and get his name up in the stadium like the other 3 guys. And it's exciting to see that because I really think we have one of the best wide receiver corps we've ever had, or I wouldn't say ever, but in a long time. And we have a solid running game. I think. You go back to Saturday as well, losing Montrell Johnson was huge. Montrell Johnson had a fantastic game. We lost him about the same time we lost Mertz. Plus, our backup running back was already out that game anyway. So we were down to two running backs. One was a true freshman, and relying on a true freshman quarterback. So we'll see how that goes. But I really think we've got a great wide receiver core, and it's a passing game that teams are going to have to really prepare for and work hard to stop. And then as soon as you stop that, I think we can punch it down your throat with a run too. So hopefully the defense holds up. It's not deep, but the starting 11 is good enough to compete with anyone, and hopefully we can continue to see that as the season goes on. So it hurt. It was a painful loss just because I felt the players did what they needed to do it, and hate it for them and hate it for Mertz, whose career is done now at Florida. But it was, at the end of the day, it was a good game. Felt like a true Tennessee-Florida rivalry game, and I'm hoping that that's kind of how they are going forward. It's just every year it's going to be a toss-up, no matter what numbers beside each team's name. Hopefully, very soon we see a matchup with 2 single digits beside each team's name. It's been a while since we've seen that.
It's been a while since that game has meant as much as it used to. Back in the day when Billy played, and the early 2000s, mid 2000s, it's been a hot minute. So hopefully we're back.
That was the team that got in the SEC championship. If you won that game, you were in. Pretty much. That was it.
Well, that's the way it was when I played. I mean, we knew if we win, where we was going. If they won, they know where it was going. We always had a chance to go to the national championship game. Whoever wins this game got a chance to go to the big game.
Absolutely.
And I will always say I was young, but if in 2001, if Florida didn't have to play Tennessee at the end of the season because of 9/11, that was a national championship Florida team. I really believe it. And that just, because Florida had to play Florida State, who ended up winning, I think, the national title that year. Florida State and Tennessee back to back. That was a brutal season and a very good Florida team.
Yeah. That was one of the years where we benefited from that game being late in the year, I think, because Tennessee got so much better as that year went, and y'all did too. But that was one of those where we're like, okay, we got this game at the end of the year. We know at this point we win where we're going. Whoever wins knows where they're going.
We just got done beating a monster FSU team.
Well, the problem was that bye week. We got a bye week from the best team we got to play every year. It always sucked.
Yeah.
That's what happened to them last week.
It didn't apply to us, though. We look like shit coming off of bye weeks.
Bye week stuck, man. I'm telling you. You talking about 2 weeks to practice for one team? Man, I used to hate it.
So it's only good if you got to play a triple option team.
That's true.
And you need every one of those practices.
That's even worse, though, man. I mean, you got a triple option team. You preparing for them for 2 weeks. You over preparing now.
There ain't no
There's only 3 plays they run.
Good enough to take away those chop blocks. So,
Billy, were you in attendance Saturday night?
What's that?
Were you in attendance Saturday night? This is gonna be the last thing I talk about, Jordan, and we can end it up.
You good?
Up. You were
go
there.
Ahead. No,
so
go ahead.
I want to shout out the real MVP. That kid that they kept putting on the jumbotron. That was
man,
Nathan.
he was getting it.
That really kept the crowd alive. I think when we were struggling on offense. So shout out to that kid.
Look, the crazy thing about that, the kid said the same thing. He's like, "You mean to tell me I had to get the crowd hype? Everybody around me was just dead." And it was the same thing. I'm in the stands. I'm trying to get the crowd to do the wave and everything. I'm up there hype. And I'm like, guys, what are y'all doing? Like, y'all, this is the best team y'all have seen in forever. And y'all are just sitting around. Y'all just pay $500 for these tickets and you sitting there.
Yeah, that kid, he did a great job.
Yeah, man, he was hype, man. I mean, he was doing all his moves, man. He pulled them all out.
I hope he had a good day at school today. I hope they just rolled out the
you're no kidding.
Yeah,
I know he was on WIVK this morning. They had him on there.
He's been on everything, man. He's been on everything.
As he should be.
I think all of us as fans should learn from that a little bit. I don't know how many Tennessee fans I heard talk about, I had to turn the game off. I just couldn't handle it anymore. I just couldn't watch that. It's so disappointing. And I'm like, maybe let's take a little bit out of his book and love it and enjoy it. And I'm going to learn from that too. Like, it's just, we love this game and we only get it for a few months out of the year. Let's soak every one of them up.
That's it.
Already halfway done.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's already halfway
Right,
over.
Man.
Yeah.
Right.
It seems like last week when it started.
Spent more time looking
Seems
forward
like it
to
just
it
started last week.
than we've been watching it.
That's true. But boys, well, let's close this one out. Put a bow on it. We got an Alabama game coming up to talk about. Send the cousin kissers home to kick their dog and cry on their sister's shoulders.
I will be cheering for UT in that game.
Are we going to get a Go Vols out of the Gator? Just kidding.
beat Alabama, then we'll talk.
But we'll
I might
call
even
this one how,
even wear some orange.
There you go. There you go. We'll call this one how we usually call it with a Go Vols, and we'll get ready to talk some Alabama football here in a minute. Go Vols.
Go Vols.
Go Vols.